Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Eastern Border. I'm recording this at 4:13 a.m. in the morning after I delved through insane amounts of information because Mr. Palmer from Foreign Policy magazine called me again and asked me for an article, so I've been up. If it is still in Romania, I have to deal with my own with household stuff. But yeah, lots of things have happened and important stuff, so I just could not leave you with an episode. And I was like happy about the news and everything. I enjoyed what's going on. I thought this would be a time for positive situation and good analysis and like a clear mistake that Putin has made or a clear act of desperation. But no. What? I was confused. Okay, so if you've read mainstream media by now at this point, anyone talking about this, and I will be directly challenging most of my colleagues here, maybe except two people, Mikhail Naki, who I listened to, and Ilya Ponomarenko, whom I found out about later through my Discord channel, who agree with me. Everyone else disagrees with us, but, I will contest this on this case and say that y'all are all, stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Because, what? See, the situation is like this. On May the 12th, Vladimir Putin nominated Andrei Belousov as Russia's new Minister of Defense, replacing our, good old buddy Sergei Shoigu. Sergei Shoigu had held the job since 2012. He had zero qualifications, and he was a total bullshitter and basically a reindeer herder. No, literally. Although this came as a surprise to many government insiders, since, Belousov, who is often described as kind of Putin's protege, has no direct ties to the security forces. He's often referred to as an economic ideologue, and I'll explain this later on. He has served as Russia's economic development minister and later as a presidential aide. And, there are people who describe him to journalists as Putin's strategic counterweight to Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin. One of the people in Gosduma characterized Belousov as subtle, intelligent, and diplomatic, and expressed outright shock at his new post. Only one source, a member of Russia's Federal Assembly, didn't seem surprised by the choice. He spoke with journalists from Verstka, whom I'm quoting here, quote, "Well, what are you expecting?" he asked. "We have something akin to military Keynesianism in our economy, right? Here's someone, the doctor of sciences, who'll be in charge of the economy of the special military operation, not moving pins on the map. Let the general staff handle the front." Let me tell you here that the general staff is run by Gerasimov, the chief of the general staff. Carrying on. Besides, someone needs to watch the rear. There's a lot of weird stuff. A lot of weird stuff with this whole situation. Political scientists in Russia call Belousov's appointment a, quote, bombshell and a break from convention. And the view of many Eastern European analysts, their reshuffle lends credence to the speculation that followed the arrest of Shoigu's deputy Timur Ivanov on corruption charges in April and suggests that Shoigu really was under suspicion. And we'll get to Timur Ivanov later on, by the way. There's a thing here. This is just weird. Because, this was very unexpected to a lot of people. And I'm reading even sources like Medusa and Yantaru, like all sorts of things. And pro-war bloggers basically react to the whole thing with just one question: who is he? Well, I know who is he, because I've been... look, economics is my thing, If you haven't noticed, I am really good at this economical stuff, because I kind of like this whole business thing. I don't have a degree in this stuff, but I have studied so much of it. That was my favorite non-history class in school, and then I took courses of that and like a choice thing in political philosophy, because economy is awesome. And I'll talk about the Z guys as well, because this all is just crazy. But Belousov, you see, I've also read a bunch of articles that from the Western side that state that Belousov is going to be a mastermind, strategist, and who's going to face the economy and all this stuff. No, he won't. And I'm going to go against the grain here, and it's like me and Naki and Ponomarenko over here, right? But I think you better listen to us here. And if someone asks you and you can like spread this knowledge out, tell them that this is the shittiest thing that Putin could do. And I mean it. And the swear words were very, very accurate at this occasion because, oh boy, Belousov has a reputation, you see. But first, I should start about the fact that he's an economical minister, definitely. He's an economist of all things. He's a completely business person. That's the thing. He's there to tighten the finances of the Russian military. If you've listened to my show for a while, then you know why this matters a lot, because, well, I've been talking about how Russia really cannot sustain and afford all this situation going on. Like, for example, recently they finally solved the situation with the Indian rupees, which they cannot use and cannot even withdraw. Like, Russia is selling oil to India with a 35% discount from the market price, and they're getting paid in rupees, which cannot be taken out of India. And India, well, honestly, offered the chance that, rupee is not a convertible currency, so how about you just invest in India? Well, the situation has been solved in favor of India, because the Russian government finally decided that they will not be able to take out their rupees, and the Russian guys who now sell oil to India are now about to invest their rupees into India to get more rupees, which they'll invest back in India. So, in fact, if you're listening to me from India, thank you to your government, because what's happening, what's happening de facto, like out in the real world, is the fact that basically Russia is giving India oil for free, basically. And then, basically Russia is giving oil to India, and the only thing Russia can do with the money that India is paying is giving it back to India, and so forth. Basically, India is robbing blind Russia. I'm not even mad because, if you get still some sort of... India has been doing things weirdly, and they're not kind of joining on the sanctions. However, they're doing insane amounts of economical harm to Russia by not joining these sanctions, which is interesting. So their situation is dire, and Belousov is there to fix the economy. Now, a lot of people think that, this is going to replace Shoigu from a more militaristic position, but it's not. Because, you see, in Russia, the Ministry of Defense, and I was shocked about this when I found out all this situation, because I thought that my own government works like the same way, because I'm Soviet born, okay? I was born in the Soviet Union, and I'm used to governments acting the way that the Soviet Union did things, right? And it took me a while to realize that, yes, well, it isn't so. See, in normal countries, mine, yours, whatever, the Minister of Defense, or whatever the position is in the United States, because let's be frank here, 80% of you are from the States. Well, Minister of Defense, or I don't know how it's called there, is responsible for basically doing the bureaucracy stuff. Allocating things, doing money stuff, organizing logistics, maybe, big level things which are not related to commanding the troops. Now, you see, it is not so in Russia. It is totally not so in Russia. Shoigu always wears his uniform, and he is actively organizing the training. He's actively organizing everything going on. He is de facto commander-in-chief. Putin does not command anything. Shoigu did that all of that thing. So I know that the kind of the chief of the general staff should do that, which is Gerasimov. But the problem is that because of how Russia works, it's all based on clans and personal authority. And Shoigu had that for a while. Oh yeah, and the guy who did all these things that ministers of defense do in all the other countries was the guy that got arrested. Yeah, that was the Timur Ivanov, who did the things that normal ministers of defense do in other countries. But otherwise Shoigu just ran the whole military operation things. He devised the plans, approved them, organized like all the things. He did literally military stuff. He was the guy who was in charge of all the generals, who directly gave commands. That is what the Minister of Defense is supposed to do in Russia. Because that's how they work, because of their conscription and their military model and all this stuff. But you see, if you put an economist there, then that kind of breaks the chain. And what an economist Belousov is. See, this guy is a fan of planned economies. Planned economies are trash. Don't buy them. Like, they're totally garbage. But he is of extra. He's extra into protectionism, extra into all sorts of planned economy things, like getting everything produced inside of Russia and just making sure that all the papers are in order. The problem with that is that he is a if this would be 1924, then he'd do well. But this is 2024, and this no longer works. What's going to happen in reality is that, this has been put in, Belousov has been put in just so Shoigu would be removed from power a bit. Because, although Shoigu was loyal to Putin and everything, you got to remember our good old buddy Prigozhin, who also was totally loyal and everything was awesome until it wasn't anymore. And Putin is kind of suspicious about that. Like I said, he's growing more and more paranoid. And this whole thing just proves my point. And, Ramzan Kadyrov is dying. Things are going bad. Have to fix something. And the military, it's like the official data says, economical data says that Russian military is eating up only a meager percentage of the budget. The problem is, in Russia, they have this special budget, which is hidden, which the public cannot see. And the hidden budget is now 75% of Russia's GDP. And we all know at this point that at least 90% of that is going to the military. So military is eating up a ton of finances. Russia simply cannot produce everything. I mean, they had even before the sanctions happened, like these sanctions, back in 2014 when Crimea happened, when they legally annexed Crimea. At that point, Russia was focusing on what they call importozamещение, or import substitution, and they admitted they failed. Although the propaganda channels will spew out insane amounts of information how they're the best ever, everything's awesome. Yeah, like the guys at the central bank and many economists predict only like a 1% growth in the following year, and this is the official data. So it's going to be down everything. So this guy's there to cut down military spending. This guy's here to do economy stuff, because Russia, with this appointment, has proved that they ran out of money. They no longer, you do not put in a penny picker and kind of a little guy who's supposed to, calculate all the finances in the position of the chief army officer of the Russian military, if their economy would be doing great. Russian military is spending so much money, and the production, they have growth of GDP, but that's only because of military things. But, to those of you who maybe don't get it, if you produce, say, a tractor, then the tractor will go on produce other things. If you produce a rocket, then the rocket will explode and, nothing good will happen to you in your economy. So military production is kind of wasteful in a way. It serves other purposes, but in this case, if your GDP grows just because of the military sector, then that doesn't show a healthy economy. And they need this guy to a penny pincher to prop things up. It's going to lead to even more chaos. Because again, so far, because Shoigu, again, had served since 2012, he had instigated a Russian military reform to kind of lower the Dedovshchina and do active military things, because, Shoigu has been in real power. I made an episode, I think, about in 2021, where I spoke about how Putin had gone with Shoigu to a retreat. Putin and Shoigu were close friends. Shoigu had, clout and influence. His subordinates didn't have anything of that. And the chief of staff, Gerasimov, yeah, he had nothing of this. He was basically a puppet and lackey to Shoigu. He was like not making anything at all. And now Andrei Belousov is just there, and he's about to pinch pennies. And he has no experience in military affairs, and he's expected to run the whole military. They are literally, okay, what's happening there is that, okay, you might say that this guy might fix their financing and their logistics. However, this is literally retooling all of their actions mid-war. You change the whole system. You act upon the whole system as needed, as if it needed change, completely shattering it, how it used to work, and doing something else completely. And that's the charitable proposal here in the middle of war. Okay, you don't do that. There's going to be insane amounts of chaos. What's going to happen now is that everyone is going to try to get on his good side. Because Sergei Shoigu, yeah, promotion is what he got, but, we have a saying for that, promoted to Siberia, right? Where, he has no power in this advisory council where he's been promoted, anything like that. And everyone is like portraying this as some sort of great thing, but in reality, what's going to happen is that this guy who's not compatible with any of the military dudes, he's going to just believe all the papers they give him. And, well, already the Russian army had been given super positive accounts on anything that's happening for a while now. And now they're going to do it even more, at least for a bit, and outright lie to him just so to get on his good side, just so to, get a warmer place. Because they will just want to steal at the same time. And previously speaking, Russia had been very inflexible with their finances and with everything. And right now it's going to increase massively. What's going to happen is that, well, look, if and I'll, again, hypothetical scenarios here. If Belousov does not do anything except fix the paperwork and does the accounting, then, well, the Russian military is out of their leadership role because Minister of Defense is literally responsible for all the leadership. Straight up, like not the bureaucracy, but the leadership of the forces in Russia. And he won't be able to do that. So that's bad. And if he does try to do some reforms in the sense that, Russian military should be more monetarily efficient, that's going to cause troubles. And this guy, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and one of them spoke about the allocation of resources and how intelligence, especially in battle, helps solve this problem. See, as this guy is a fan of planned economies, there will be no efficient allocation of resources. There's going to be a plan and paperwork, and there's going to be 9 stamps required on 18 papers and all this stuff, and it's going to be slow. He's going to decide where he's going to get very fake reports from the army generals, and after that, he will basically take it all into a calculation and figure out how to do everything cheaply, give everyone less money, and the people who need money more and resources more and the Russian front lines will have to do thrice more paperwork, and then he's going to invest money into, homemade drones, because he's all about protectionism, like I said. So he's going to, stop buying Mavics. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like would stop buying DJI drones for reconnaissance and would just, invest in some new factory somewhere out there, which will then, propose that something goes on, whatever. And that they build better drones, which they will never do. Because under Shoigu, what worked was that, out of $100 given to the Russian army, right? 50 of them would be stolen outright and just split apart. And the other 50, half of them would be stolen by lower level candidates, and about 25 out of each 100 would just get to the troops. And now, to get even those 25, there's going to be shit tons of paperwork to do, like insane amounts of. This is basically taking an accountant and putting him in a role of a 5-star general. Just changing the whole structure. This is insane and stupid. And I don't know why people think that this is going to make some efficiency of a Russian army eventually. It is literally changing the whole system. I presume that all these Western media who made this assumption, made these statements about Belousov being some sort of genius and this being a threat to Ukraine, they just don't know that the Minister of Defense in Russia works totally differently from Ministers of Defense in the rest of the world. So that's about it. But But this has been totally chaotic. Like Mikhail Zvinchuk, who runs the Kremlin Telegram channel Rybar, which I often use in my sources, he said the following, quote, "In practice, Belousov's appointment as defense minister means the start of a full-scale audit and the restructuring of all financial models within the defense establishment, as well as the potential end of the pursuit of ostentatious displays. Given the severe time constraints, Belousov will definitely prefer a single page with 2 Excel spreadsheets representing different economic scenarios to a full PowerPoint presentation. And he will make decisions based on those tables because he's a numbers guy. Belousov has always had his own point of view on a range of issues, if not always a popular one. But that's probably what the Russia's defense establishment needs right now." Now, Rybar is very closely tied to Putin himself, and he has to find something positive. However, the rest of the stuff that he said, totally true. He's literally there to start a full-scale audit and a restructuring of every finance funding thing within the defense establishment. Now, that's all good and nice, but it's in the middle of the war. This is not going to be nice or cute or lovely. This is going to be terrible for them. You do not do this in the middle of a war. You do not change the whole system, which is why I don't know how this is not going to work. This is like Russia at this point had their advantage, like I mentioned in the previous episode, where the aid for Ukraine has not yet arrived fully. So now Russia is pushing on Kharkiv in a way, attempting to. They're having massive casualties. And I follow Ruslan Leviev here from Conflict Intelligence Team, who says that, we shouldn't really, think about that. They're going to take some surrounding areas or something, but I don't think they're going to move in much. However, this is going to be quite insane. At any rate, this needs to be done, and why Putin appointed him is because, again, Putin is thinking, once again, that he's doing great because he's been fed false information all this time. And he thinks that, if we're doing so well, but, we're kind of running out of money, how about we appoint this economist guy? Because, we're doing well. Problem is they're not doing that well. This is the moment. This, by the way, is the moment where we must give more aid to Ukraine ASAP now. Because somehow I believe that we should exploit this chaos that's going to happen. And it's going to last for, I don't know, few months at least. 4 or 5 maybe. After that, well, we'll see. But I have no illusions about the fact that this guy's going to do something great. Everyone's already, thinking about how Putin's playing 4D chess. However, well, even if he would be capable of that, which he isn't, they are still playing 4D chess with, false positions on the chessboard. Nothing's going to happen. This is awesome for all of us who support Ukraine. But for Russia, this is what happens when you get full-on hardcore planned economy guys running the whole thing. Notably, Belousov sincerely hates the United States. Well, but that's a given. I mean, he's up there. He hates the whole idea of a free market. He thinks that Russia should produce everything by themselves, ignoring, basically modern market trends with the fact, he doesn't probably understand what comparative advantage is and all this nonsense, but this is going to be awesome. I believe this is going to be awesome. And Gerasimov, he's a bit angry right now, definitely. Because no one expected this, and this is just there. And I'm here to just calm down the panic for you. Because, again, I am just surprised about how many people are actively, supporting this guy. But yeah, that's about it for today. I have a Foreign Policy magazine article to write because they asked me about the whole what do average Russian wants if they win the war thing again. The problem is it's really hard to describe apathy. Secondly, also, if you're listening to this, dear patrons, I do read your comments there. Sadly, while I was in USA and then I was in Estonia for a bit, I couldn't answer to that. But I've learned about your complaints about how the whole Dugin's interview commentary ended up. We'll do better next time, okay? I'm sorry that I couldn't respond to that one. And talking about patrons, mandatory shilling part, please consider supporting the show on the patreon.com/easternborder, or just click the donate button on theeasternborder.lv. either way, you will get this show without ads, which is nice because not like they pay me for ads much. So it is what it is. But yeah, Belousov, hardcore economist, doing a thing, revamping the whole military system. Wow, I don't know. I really do not understand why people are so optimistic about this guy, because they shouldn't be. But, not like I expect them to have much knowledge in the matter. До свидания, товарищи. And remember, happiness is mandatory.